Hello and welcome to Let's Talk Sports. I am Ralph Labella.
And I'm Ron Sen. We have a few principles in coaching. One of them is we don't believe in I can't or I'll try. Do or do not. There is no try, said Yoda. This week, Yahoo Sports highlighted the story of Kenny Baker, senior captain for Eisenhower High School in the Chicago area. Kenny's been a very effective running back and safety for his team. Only thing different about Kenny is he only has one arm. He was born with one arm, has played sports his whole life with one arm, scored 3 touchdowns in a 7-on-7 game on receiving. In fact, his teammates call him Moss because he has to catch everything with one arm. And that's the kind of determination, persistence you need to have in sports to be successful.
Yeah, to me, Ron, you know how I feel. Confidence is your number one asset. Anyone who's playing with confidence plays a lot better, no matter what sport they're doing, no matter what they're doing in life, Ron.
And we also like to talk a little bit about our coaching philosophy. And so many games are decided at the end of a basketball game, or in a lot of other sports, the last 2 minutes of a football game, the 9th inning of a baseball game. And you can't expect young players to know what to do on their own. So a big part of sports is teaching players how to react under different circumstances. When we have our full team together, we'll be coaching 2-minute games, 30-second games, what to do in the last 10 seconds, 5 seconds, 2 seconds, when you have the ball at half court or have to score in the last 5 seconds, full court, how to defend when there's a 3-point lead, the other team has the ball, should you foul, should you not foul, when to take fouls, when to give fouls. Players cannot know this information by themselves, but if they're given the right instruction, they have to be able to perform in the big time.
Yeah, as a coach, you have to believe in that, Ron. You know, the way we coach, you want to maximize your chances of winning at all times. You want to be able to adjust, on the go. You want to see who you have to shut down in basketball, who the top player is on the other team. And basically our players are at the point now, Ron, where they're seeing it as quick as we are. What they have to do defensively to shut down this team. But again, you have to be able to break a half-court trap, 3-quarter trap, full-court trap, man-to-man. You have to know what to do in every situation, and all the players have to be able to respond quickly. And that's the way we teach the game. And, not just – that's why we win most of our games, Ron, because the girls really want to be the best they can be, and they know what to do in most situations.
You really have to be playing chess when the other team's playing checkers. You have to be one step of the game. We emphasize the mental aspects, that 80% of the game is mental, and the players respond to that. Legendary coach Pete Newell from California, who won a national championship as well as an Olympic coach for a championship, said they're not cattle. They know how to respond if you give them a chance, you give them instructions. These kids are smart, and they can do the right thing.
Well, look at the senior class this year. Brooke Bell and Sydney and Rachel and Shannon, Ashley, and the rest of them. When they were in the 8th grade, they went up against that Somerville powerhouse team that hadn't lost a game in 2 years. They beat them in that great game. I think it was 64-60 in the Marcoux gym. They did everything they had to do to beat that team. They knew from playing against them 2 previous years, they knew what they had to do, and they come out and played their best game. I mean, that's a group that they're seniors this year, and I expect the same thing from them, led by Brooke, and Sydney. The two of them should be, I would think they'd be the number 1 team. Well, after Reading, they should be the number 2 team in the league.
Well, they have a lot of talent, and they've had proven success at
But it's
a
the
younger
identity.
age.
It's the identity, Ron. They found their identity as younger girls. They kind of lost it, as young high school players. Not as seniors. Hopefully they get it back, and hopefully the coach really appreciates what he has.
Well, to extend the theme about local sports, today's Thursday the 23rd, and the MIAA allows practice to begin for most sports the second Thursday before Labor Day. And sure enough, local teams like volleyball started their tryouts today. Volleyball team was out early at 7:45, getting a good workout. MIAA has several new rules for volleyball, and particularly interesting is the Baden volleyball will be the official volleyball for the playoffs, so most teams will probably adopt using that ball sometime during the regular season. I don't understand exactly why they need a new volleyball every year. I don't know if it's consistent with what the NCAA does. Last year it was a Reebok ball. The year before it was Tashikawa. I always wonder with so many high salaried uh, employees at the MIAA where all this extra money comes from.
Well, it must be someone's giving them a break or whatever. I mean,
You
if
know, I don't
it's-
know. You keep changing the equipment
What's the
every
difference
year.
in the ball? I mean,
The color.
well, you know, Coach Jelly will be using those balls during the year. He's not going to wait till the playoffs.
One would I mean, it really shouldn't make very much difference. A volleyball is a volleyball, but on the other hand, why do you want to go into the postseason with some different factor?
Especially, you know, the way we look at it, they're the #1 team in the state. I mean, after looking at the teams last year, looking at what they did last year, the game they played against Marlboro, who ended up #2 in the state, seeing that Melrose has just about everybody back, and they've worked extremely hard in the off season, you know, I would rate them the #1 team in the state. So Coach Jelly, knowing he's going to have the same type ball that they're going to be using in the playoffs.
Well, they're going to have some, excellent home games this season. They play Reading in their annual grudge match. Powerhouse Brockton's coming in, Central Catholic. So there'll be a lot of attractive games on the home schedule this season for volleyball.
Yeah, in the football team. I predict the football team to be as strong as they were last year. You know, people telling me that offensive line is going to be good this year. They lost a couple of players from it. I think they lost 4 players from the offensive line and defensive line. But they say they had some real good young linemen last year in the JVs and coming up. So with the specialized players they have, I think they could be a power run.
Well, certainly they had an outstanding season last year. It was kind of a calamity of bad breaks that cost them the final game of the season. But we're looking forward to them having a very successful season this year. Turning to the Celtics, Danny Ainge had a pretty successful offseason. In fact, I'd have to say that the team looks stronger coming into this season than they were last year.
Yeah, they signed Green yesterday. We knew they were going to sign him. I think he had to wait for something. I don't know, but he signed him to a 4-year contract at $9 million a year. But like Ainge said, he's 6'9" and he can play the 3 away from the basket. He's real strong. He'll be covering the LeBron James. He'll be at times. Pierce will start off on him, and they'll bring Green in. Lee was a huge signing, and Wilcox.
Well, and speaking of confidence, Jason Terry. Jason Terry got a tattoo on his arm of the Celtic leprechaun Lucky spinning an NBA championship trophy on his finger. So Jason Terry's already saying, yeah, we're winning the whole thing, no doubt about it. I love him.
I'll tell you, if things go the right way, if they stay healthy, who knows? I'm hoping that Collins helps him out too. He's 7 feet tall. A lot of people don't realize that the Celtics signed him too. Good defensive player working with Garnett. And you have Sullinger too, who should be getting playing time. I'll tell you, this is the deepest team they've ever had.
Yeah, the keys are obviously keeping Garnett and Pierce with controllable minutes so that they're not, exhausted. They do not have to win the East during the regular season. That really shouldn't enter into their thoughts. The Celtics had a team, I think it was 68, where they finished 3rd or 4th during the regular season and still won in the playoffs. So it's really just getting there that matters.
But Ron, you look at it, Rondo Bradley, Terry Lee coming off the bench. I mean, no one has 4 guards like they do. There's no one in basketball who does.
Well, the controversy that came out this week was Jason Terry was saying Jason Kidd told him he thinks Rondo's the best point guard in the league. I'm not sure that we agree. There's some other, Deron Williams is a terrific point guard, Derrick Rose, Chris Paul.
If you saw Paul in the Olympics in that last game
Absolutely.
against Spain, he was the reason why they won it.
No question. So I'm not sure that I'm willing to anoint Rondo the best point guard in the league, but he's highly regarded by his peers.
But on that type of a team, though, Ron, he sets up perfect with those players. I mean, they're going to love playing with him. I mean, this talent. I mean, you're not bringing in anybody weak anymore with this team.
And speaking of Cuban but no cigar, Dallas owner Mark Cuban said, no way I'm going to retire Jason Kidd's number. Despite a number of 2 successful stints in Dallas, Kidd abandoned Dallas for the Knicks, and Mark Cuban's not a happy camper.
Well, right, you're not going to, yeah. He wouldn't. Why would he when a guy leaves for more money?
Right. Can't really blame him for that. I think that another issue that's coming up as we move deeper into the preseason for the NFL is the issue about replacement refs. A lot of these guys, it doesn't look like a very high quality officiating out there right now.
It's actually a disaster.
Well,
They don't know
Goodell
where to place the ball at times.
voiced his support for the replacement referees. Somebody figured out for a 10-year period, it's going to cost something like $2 million to keep the existing referees with some benefits. And that works out to something like $60,000 per team per year or something. It's, it seems ridiculous. I know what the NFL's issue is. If you give these guys benefits, there's some other person in the organization that's going to want benefits. And, the poor NFL owners hardly making any money at all.
Right, but these refs working? They're all working other jobs.
Right. A lot of them, like Ed Hockley's an attorney. They have other jobs, but the question is, if they devoted more time, I don't know if they came in and scouted the teams a little earlier, would that make the product better?
But do they want the NFL? Don't they want full-time referees? They want them just to do that job?
I don't know.
But how many months are you working, really?
Right.
If that's the case.
Well, it's only a 16-week season, 4 weeks preseason, and then another 4 or 5 weeks postseason.
Well, the thing is, these replacement refs, they're going to get better and better every game when they really learn the whole, the NFL.
Yeah, but wait till the first team, the Indianapolis Colts lose in the last minute on some pass interference call, and the Ursays go insane.
Yeah, but I thought the Patriots game against Philadelphia, I thought the head ref did a real good job. Never got confused. Not like the first game. The head ref was confused the whole game. This guy here really understood what he had to do. He made the correct call, and he was really quick to making the call. So I thought he did a pretty good job.
Well, there was one call that was a questionable pass interference fumble or incomplete pass. Clearly it was an incomplete pass. They made the right call. The initial call on the field was it was a fumble.
But now they review all the big
Turnovers.
plays, right? All the big plays in the game.
Turnovers and scoring plays.
They
and
don't
plus
need to
challenges.
see the flag. So that's good. And they do it right away because they're up above.
Right.
They make those. The decisions are made in like less than 30 seconds.
And the big news today on sports radio anyway was the relative scarceness of Red Sox players at Johnny Pesky's funeral. Clay Buchholz spoke not on behalf of the players. He just said they'd been on a long road trip. It was their first day off. A lot of the players probably had events scheduled with their families, their wives, and they didn't go to only 4 players, Ortiz, Padilla, Saltalamacchia, and Buchholz went to the funeral. However, most of the team went to the Beckett Bowl charity event that night. So, I don't know. It's up for discussion, but it's a long season. Not all the players knew Pesky that well. It's a tough call.
Well, Buchholz, he said that they found out a little too late. He didn't have plans, so he was able to go. But that's a joke. The players don't care about Pesky. It's that simple. They just care about themselves and their teammates. Do you wait for someone to tell you that, what time the funeral mass is or whatever? Do you wait? You check. You can make a call or whatever. These players are an actual joke, the ones that makes the excuse, well, they didn't tell us. They told all the writers and reporters 2 days previous. They sent out a letter to all of them to tell them that, the church, you had to have an invitation for the church, okay? All the Red Sox players had an invitation. They all knew. Come on, they just didn't care enough about them. It's that simple. Just come out and say it. Pedroia, a guy that Pesky worked with couldn't have been too much, but he did work with him, and I know Pesky liked Pedroia, and Pedroia liked him. He didn't show up. He just, they didn't care enough about him. It's that simple.
Well, in other news, the Tennessee Titans are the Patriots' Week 1 opponent during the regular season, and McCourty got $43 million for 5 years. That is Jason McCourty, Devin McCourty's brother. So at least somebody on the Titans would be able to buy dinner for his brother.
It wasn't McCourty. They were drafted a year apart, right?
I think so.
And McCourty was supposed to be the better one, I thought.
Right.
But he had that bad season last year.
Now, some people accuse us of not paying enough attention to lesser sports like tennis. And sometimes a story catches your eye. And there was a story today, tennis referee to face murder charges for beating husband. Tennis is a genteel sport. I know they don't wear the all whites anymore, but crying out loud, the woman claimed that her husband fell down the stairs. Apparently, they found a broken coffee mug.
She was supposed to do the U.S. Open. She was supposed to work the U.S. Open. She was 70, And her husband was 80.
Right. I mean, gosh.
Unbelievable.
When tennis officials become murderers, you know, what did John McEnroe used to say? I can't remember. Are you kidding me? So, Andrew Luck has so far greatly outplayed RG3. Boy, I was watching some of the Redskins game, and the quarterback looked really tough against the Bears. He was terrible, and Luck scored something like 6 touchdowns on 13 drives or something like that.
Let me ask you something. You're Belichick, right? Indianapolis calls you and says, we'll give you Luck, we'll trade you Luck for Brady. Straight up, what would you say?
Well, I'd keep Brady because you got probably 2 or 3 years of Brady and Belichick left together. You know, I'll take my chances with the proven product.
I'd make the deal. Yeah, Brady, like you said, has maybe 3 more good years left. I mean, Luck has 12 to 15 years in the NFL, and from what I've seen, he's going to be unbelievable. He's very smart. His father was a coach. Worked with him all those years. He's very, very smart.
Well, he sure looks great in preseason.
You know, I like Brady, but 3 real good years to 12 to 15 real good years, that's the difference.
We'll be right back with a smorgasbord of interesting sports items for you.
Athlete training tips by Athletic Evolution, giving you the edge.
Scott Duggan back with Athlete Training Tips. I'm here with one of our summer interns, Robert Palmer, here at Athletic Evolution. First, we're going to take you through our vertical press progression we do with our athletic enhancement group. So Rob's going to start off with 2 dumbbells, neutral grip position, so the dumbbells are facing forward, parallel with his legs. Rob's going to dig his back toe in, make sure his hips come all the way through. We want his front leg at 90 degrees, and then he's going to alternate pressing all the way up, getting to full extension, not starting the next rep until he comes all the way back down with his dumbbell. So this will be phase 1 for us. Phase 2, we're going to get rid of one of the dumbbells. We're going to go to half kneeling single arm press. Now, when you do phase 1, it doesn't matter which knee is up, right or left, and you can keep that one up the whole time, no matter which arm you're pressing with. When we go to single arm press, we need to make sure that the arm that the dumbbell's in, that same knee is down on the ground. Same thing, toes dug in the back, front legs at 90 degrees. Press all the way up. Depending upon the rep scheme, you do 5 to 8 reps, then switch arms, switch legs, and you're gonna do 5 to 8 reps with the other arm, the other leg down. Same thing, we're in neutral grip. Phase 3, we're going to take it to standing. So Rob's going to stand up. We're going to keep with 1 dumbbell, 1 arm format. Now we're going to get in a nice athletic position, bend at the knee, bend at the waist. Arm can go on our hip, help stabilize ourselves. Here we're going to use our core. Make sure we don't lean to one side or the other. We stay nice and symmetrical right down the middle. Same thing, 5 to 8 reps, whatever the scheme is. Make sure we extend all the way at the top. Dumbbells still in a neutral grip position. Then we're going to switch over to the other arm. Very important here that we don't stand straight all the way up, as Rob will demonstrate now, and then lean back at the top, putting stress on our lower back. We want to keep in that athletic position, bend at the knee, bend at the waist. So that's our vertical press progression, starting with half kneeling, alternating press, progressing on to phase 2, half kneeling, 1 arm press, and then standing 1 arm press, all in the neutral grip position. Rob's going to come back in a couple seconds. He's going to take us through a couple exercises on his own with one of the other interns. Thank you.
Hey, it's Robert here with Andrew, and we're going to take you through the 1-arm pull-down. This is an excellent exercise for people who have trouble with normal pull-ups. So this allows them to still use weight and then progress on the cable stack without doing normal pull-ups. So Andrew's going to do here, he's going to pull his elbow down to his side, and as he does that, he's going to start with his palm facing away and curl in so that the palm faces himself at the bottom. He's making sure not to allow the cable to jerk his arm up overhead, and he's keeping his shoulder nice and tight in here. And once he's done one side, he's going to go over and do the other side. For this, generally you use anywhere between 6 and 12 reps. The nice thing about this is that it allows you to increase the weight from week to week so that you can know that you're making progress. Hey, it's Robert here with Andrew again, and now we're taking you through the body saw exercise. This is a progression from our front plank, so oftentimes we'll start athletes in a front plank, and once they've mastered that exercise, we'll move them to this. It's a little more difficult, challenging, and it really engages the anterior core. So to start, Andrew's going to squeeze his glutes, and now he's going to start in a front plank and then rock backwards, sliding backwards and then forwards again. The farther he slides back, the more the leverage makes it harder on his core. This is a really challenging exercise for athletes, and generally anywhere between 8 and 12 reps. A common mistake is they're not going to be squeezing their glutes, and their lower back is going to sag as a result of that. So we want to make sure that they're squeezing their glutes, making their spine in a nice neutral position. You're going to generally perform this exercise until technical failure, at which point the core musculature gives out and the lower back starts to sag.
That wraps it up for this week's athlete training tips. I want to thank Rob and Andrew for helping out this week and helping us here at Athletic Evolution all summer. See you guys next week.
Athletic Evolution, staff of energetic, motivated, and certified professional strength coaches will help you get to the level you aspire to achieve. At Athletic Evolution, it starts with a purpose and ends with your success. Visit our website or drop into our training facility at 78B Olympia Avenue, Woburn, Mass. Athletic Evolution, giving you the edge.
Hi, I'm Ralph Labella. Alongside me is Morgan Lumb. Welcome, Morgan. Morgan's going to be a senior at North Andover High School, and Morgan's one of the top basketball players in the state. And something exciting has happened lately with you, Morgan.
Yeah, I just got a full ride to Hartford, and I committed. It was a tough ride. You know, it was between Bentley and Hartford, of course. But what it came down to was I woke up, I was with AT, and it was, we went 6 in the morning at a practice over the summer, last summer. And so that means we had to get up at 4 in the morning. And I don't know, I walked through the gym with him and I just felt like a family over there, and it was a great experience. I saw their first practice, and I just fell in love with everything over there.
In AT's your VBG coach.
Yeah.
He runs VBG here.
Yeah.
Now, Jen Rosati is the coach at Hartford, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was telling you earlier, I remember the first year I started watching UConn, she was the point guard.
Yeah.
Excellent guard, and Hartford has a great program. And what are you excited about going to Hartford?
I'm just excited for playing for her too, because that was also a big thing, because she played point guard and she saw me at my high school game. She saw me as a 2 guard, and then for VBC she saw me playing point guard, and she's like, Morgan, you can drive to the basket, so I see you playing point guard for our team, or bringing the ball up off the dribble or whatever, off the basket. And who else? What else? What other coach would you rather play for? Who's
I know.
played?
And then you watch Hartford. You know who they're playing early on every year? Do you know who they play?
Oh.
UConn.
Yeah, they do.
UConn. You know Brianna Hartley? She's a point guard at UConn. That's my favorite team of all time. You go pros, college. I love the UConn girls. They play the game the right way. And every year, Jen schedules them because she played for Oriema. But they have Hartley. They have a real strong team, and that's just a game to prepare for. But Hartford has an excellent schedule.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what made you decide to go, even though now Hartford's Division I, so you're going to be playing against the best talent in the country.
Exactly.
Bentley with Batista has an excellent program too.
Exactly.
But what was the one thing when you were at 18, you just decided that Hartford's a team?
Well, my dream too, when I was a little kid, has always been to play Division I basketball. I always had this dream, to play at UConn or play at UNC. But dreams change, but I still found playing Division I would still mean everything to me, even if it wasn't for UConn or UNC. So that's what it came down to.
Now, how long have you been playing basketball?
Since 2nd grade, but I started dribbling a ball when I was 2 years old.
Now, I remember watching you play. I don't know if you know, I coached against you in middle school.
Really?
Melrose against North Andover, and I remember we used to game plan for you. And to me, I always felt you just had that edge. Talk about the edge you need to play basketball.
Yeah.
At the level you play it at.
You just have to you want to win more than you want to lose. I like to win more than anything in the world, and that's the best feeling, when you can just win a game and go home and be happy. But once you lose, it's just nobody talked to me, and just being competitive, just getting your teammates involved and all that. It's just.
Now, how long have you been involved with VBG?
The summer of 6th grade.
What has that done for you?
I wouldn't be who I am today if it wasn't for him, especially AT. He pushed me, he helped me become, like I used to dribble to the corner, like with my head down. I used to always be athletic, but he taught me how to like use my athleticism to my advantage, and I thank him every day for that.
Now, you've gone to tournaments with VBG, some top tournaments. What's the best
Yeah.
tournament you've gone to?
Well, we won states, I think it was my freshman year, so we went down to Florida, and we played in nationals down there, and then we go to USJN in DC every year, and then we go to Gym Rat, Commotion by the Ocean, but the best one is probably DC, I'd say.
Now, what makes you the player you are? Is it the edge? I always talk about playing with the edge and playing with that, having that great mental approach. What makes you that type of player?
Man.
Did you learn it from AT, playing AAU? Because you know you can have your ups and downs
Yeah.
playing AAU, because you're going against the best all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I was just blessed with it. I mean, not a lot of people have that edge, I guess, if you want to say. But it's just my love for the game. I never want to disrespect it. So I just do everything in my power just to be good.
Now, I heard you were a real good lacrosse player, but you gave it up just to strictly work on basketball.
Yeah, no, lacrosse wasn't my thing. I tried it, but it was all right.
Now, you're a great athlete. You can probably play just about any sport.
Yeah.
I mean, but lacrosse, did you ever play softball or anything like
I
that?
played baseball, actually, when I was little, when I was up through Little League. And that was my favorite sport, actually, coming up until I met AT. And I played soccer, lacrosse, yeah, basketball. I played pretty much everything.
Now, as a coach who game planned against your teams in middle school, you were the key player to stop. And I remember, you know, Brooke Bell played with you. She was our point guard. And you would just make our girls play. I don't know if you're really aware of this, but you would make our girls play even that much better knowing they were going up against a player like you. And it was really, I know when Brooke herself, when she went up against you, she knew she had to play her best.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's very important. What would you tell the youth play, you know, especially the middle school players? I mean, it's not just physical.
Yeah,
You know,
it's
you got to be
mental.
mentally prepared. I talk about being able to anticipate all the
Yeah.
time. What do you think about that?
Exactly, because I know playing against Nicole Boudreau, I would come into a game like focus more than like focus. I got to stop Nicole. I can't let her shoot. I can't let her shoot. And it made me play up. Made me play up to her level. And just playing with better players around you gets you better to where you want to become.
Now, going up against players like Nicole, you must think about that game a week before.
Oh, months before.
So you're
months
mentally
before.
prepared going up. You probably just know about everything she's going to try to do
Yeah.
against you. But did you go one-on-one with her?
No, I never have.
But you must, during games, you must have connected with her.
Yeah, I mean, and then, because I wouldn't cover her all the time because I have to score and stuff, so I get tired on on defense. But when I got to cover her, I would just give her 100% the whole entire time.
Now, I watched that game last year. I was at that game where you beat Melrose in overtime. Melrose got that big basket,
Oh,
that
yeah.
tough call at the end
Yeah.
of the game, and Melrose scored. And then I just remember you making all the big plays. But what I really realized is the way you started off the game, the leader of the team. Now, North Andover wasn't real strong.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, you had girls that played the role,
Yeah.
but you were a big scorer. But early in the game, I noticed that you were trying to get everybody involved. You know, and your team was playing good basketball. But at the end of the game, you just took the game over.
Yeah.
Is that your approach to most games?
I want to get my teammates involved as much as I can, because that's not me. I'd rather pass and make a sick pass and finish a layup. But when it comes down to like crunch time and nobody else is really doing anything the whole game, that's when I have to turn it on.
Now, again, for the younger girls that watch this and boys, in that game, what I remember is the reason why North Andover won is because you never let up the whole game. I mean, you got that big basket at the end because you out-hustled the Melrose players to the ball. And then you had that wide-open shot. Melrose players, in that situation, just slacked off for a second. Maybe they were tired or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's the key. You can never get tired in the
Never,
game. You've
yeah.
got to always be in the game. And that was huge for me. And, you know, just watching that type of game. Now, how does North Andover look this year?
Oh, we got a solid 7 back where we all played last year. And we're actually like made this close bond where we're all friends. Like this has never happened before. So plus we're moving to the MVC this year. So better competition. So we push each other even
You're going to be
harder.
playing against Andover?
Yeah, and Central and
And
Billerica.
Billerica's going to be real strong
Yeah.
this year, too, because that senior class that you're in,
Yeah.
that was a real strong class in middle school when they've gotten better
Yeah.
and better. Oh, so that's going to be unreal.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to play your best because,
Exactly.
again, the talent level. I mean, the girls will have one more year experience, but going up against that competition. So what are you going to do to prepare? Have you been playing with your teammates this summer?
Yeah, we played summer league together. We get together just to like go have fun, like go hang out together. And then we actually have this new fall league down at the youth center where we're gonna be playing like every Sunday night against Reading, Andover Central, and I forget
Is it up in
who
Lawrence?
else. Oh, it's in North Andover.
In
So it's
so-
in my town. Yeah.
So that's going to be huge. Now you're going to be playing for VBG too?
Yeah, I'm gonna be working out on my own and
Now,
stuff.
do you come down here every day? Just
Yeah,
about?
every day.
And you're working?
Every day, yeah.
Do they have another facility up in Andover?
No, they have. We go in at Brooks School every once in a while. I think that starts in the fall,
Brooks?
though. Yeah,
So you're playing all year round?
yeah. Never
you
taking
just-
time off.
Now, what do you tell the younger girls, right, when things aren't going right for them, when they just feel that, you know, they can't make a shot? What do you do? You talk, say, as long as you're playing great defense and you're involved in the game, you know, you're going to have your ups and downs?
Yeah, you just gotta push through it. I mean, that was my weakness. Is when I miss a shot, I'd be like, oh, like come on, like. But now I got my mental focus, and I missed 3 shots in a row, and I realized that I'm gonna hit the 4th.
Yeah, what I always tell my players, it's not the girls that score all the time. It's I call them floor players, the ones who get to the loose balls, that play the great defense, that are totally locked in the game, run the plays the right way. I mean, is that your approach?
Yeah, exactly. And if I want to make the other girl turn the ball over if I miss a shot. So I always have that mentality of if I miss a shot, like I gotta go steal the ball and get it back.
So what's your next step now with Hartford? You made your verbal commitment. So now, when is the written commitment done? Is that during next year's?
That's in November.
In
Signing
November?
period's in November.
So she'll come up for that?
Yeah, I think she's gonna come up sometime in September to meet my family, and we'll go out to dinner, and then I'll take my official overnight there.
So you're at that next level now. You must be so excited
I'm
about
so
playing
excited.
Division I.
It's crazy. It just doesn't feel real. Like it's always been my dream, and now that it's finally here, it just doesn't feel like it's here.
Is there anything you want to say to the younger girls that may be watching this? All boys, younger boys?
Well, your dreams do come true. No matter if people say, "Oh, you can't do it," you can't do it. It's your heart that tells you that you can actually do it.
Well, that's definitely true. I mean, like I said, I've been watching you since the 6th grade, 6th, 7th, and 8th. And, you know, from our girls, they knew that they were going to have a tough game going up against you. And as a coach, trying to game plan against you and seeing you playing with that edge, and then seeing you last year just take over that game against Melrose. I mean, that's the type of player you are. Well, I want to congratulate you,
Thank you.
especially going to Hartford, and I know it's going to be a lot of fun preparing for that. And thanks for coming in.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Welcome back. I want to introduce a few statistics here to give you some perspective. On-base slugging percentage is the sum of slugging percentage and on-base percentage. You know, an outstanding player would be 1,000, something like that. We'll give you just some raw numbers. David Ortiz, 1024. Cody Ross, 856. Will Middlebrooks, 835. Alex Gonzalez, 818. Crawford, 785. Saltalamacchia, 754. Pedroia, 752. Ellsbury, 643. All right, these numbers may not mean that much to you, but think about Ellsbury, 643. Let's compare him to the immortal Vic Davalillo, which was a banjo hitter for the Cleveland Indians for a dozen seasons, or less than that. He had a 680 career OPS. And then we have Joe LaHood. He was from Waterbury or something. He couldn't hit at all, 706. The Red Sox had a light-hitting outfielder who could run. Rick Miller had a 696 OPS for his career. Ellsbury, 643 and almost 200 at-bats. $20 million? For like how many years? Are you kidding me?
What do you think of that, Lou?
He's saving himself for next year. He's going to come out. He's going to have 30 home runs. He'll have 100 RBIs, 50 stolen bases, and everybody, whether you're wearing a pink hat or no hat, is going to say, "You got to sign him. We got to sign him." I mean, doesn't that happen every time in this godforsaken city?
Conversely, Mike Trout has a 1010 OPS with 24 homers and 39 stolen bases, and he missed the first 5 weeks of the season in the minors.
And how old is he? Is he the same age as Harper? Is he around 19?
He's got to be older than that.
Who's that, Trout?
Trout.
Well,
He
it's-
played with Middlebrooks and Harper
Yeah,
over the
he's-
winter,
He's young, but
he's young, and he looks to be a cornerstone of that franchise for
and
a
he
while.
can run.
Yes.
He can run. He's unbelievable.
Yeah.
no. I mean, I'm not trying to pick on Ellsbury. It's just people talk, about local players like they're God's gift to the world because they're our guy. And Ellsbury, he's had one fantastic season last year. He was second in the MVP voting. But come on, he's not a proven star in the major leagues.
Well, you look at it, right? On-base percentage. A real good hitter should have at least a 375 on-base percentage and 500 slugging average. So you look at that, 500 and 875.
Right.
875 is real good. Trout is over 1,000.
Right.
It's
If
unbelievable.
you're going to bat at the top of the order, that's what you have to have. And a guy like him looking for a contract, it ought to be more like 400. But I'll tell you something, it's indicative of the whole team because how many teams in the American League? They're about 12th in on-base percentage, and they've completely gotten away from what made them successful. When they were winning World Series, as we can now say, that was the Yankees' calling card. Get on base, knock you in. Get on base, score runs. And the Red Sox started doing that 2003 to 2000 and whatever, and that's when they were winning. And now you look at them, they're 12th. I mean, they're terrible. They can't get on base.
Right, and what's really important is get that pitcher out of there after 5 innings, the starting pitcher.
Yeah.
So if he's throwing a lot of pitches, like used to happen with the Yankees and Red Sox, most times the starting pitcher would be out of the game at the end of 5 innings or 6 innings, even if he was having a good game, because they'd have 8 pitch at bats, 9 pitch at bats, 10 pitch at bats. But nowadays the Red Sox don't even care about it.
Well, you turn on the
They're working
game.
them.
As soon as they get behind, the game is over because it's just go into a shell, turtle, whatever. And that's happened. When was the last time the Red Sox won a series? Probably the first week after the All-Star break. But, it's been dreadful.
But you have to be able to walk too. I mean, look at Gonzalez. What does he have, 30-something walks this year? A hitter like him, he should have 100 walks right now.
Yeah.
And he had Ortiz behind him most of the year.
Well, it's like when you get to the end of the season, the games get shorter because the players start swinging at everything to try to, get it over with.
But that shows players that really don't care.
Yeah.
They're 12th now in walks, I think, or on base percentage.
Yep.
When they used to be one of the top 2 or 3 teams, them and the Yankees.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. I mean, I don't want to hear about injuries anymore. I'm sick of hearing about it because every team has injuries, and I don't want to hear about anything other than I just have my ears blocked.
Well,
if people say the players don't care, then I'll listen.
The
because that's what it
Yankees
is.
lost their closer. A-Rod, even with diminished talent, out for the season. Sabathia's had a couple trips to the DL. They've had plenty of players injured.
Nova's on a DL.
Yeah, the Yankees have had plenty of injuries. They're not making excuses.
Well,
The Yankees just aren't going to, like I told you earlier in the year, even when they were up to 10.5 games on in the second place team, so I don't know how they got there because they don't have the talent.
look at who's flying into their rearview mirror
Tampa Bay.
with
Tampa.
1/3 the payroll of the Red Sox.
They're going to win it. The Yankees,
Well,
I'm
when
telling you right now.
Longoria came back, they're a whole different team.
But I'm telling you,
Yeah,
don't
absolutely.
be surprised if Tampa ends up in first and Baltimore second in that division. I'm telling you, the Yankees are not as good as people
I
think.
know
Now
you're
they're
down on the
hurting.
Yankees. I know you're down on them. But
And I'm a Yankee fan. Know why I'm down on them?
I
Because
know,
I've been
I
a
know.
big fan since I was 8 years old with the Yankees. And I've seen the teams they've had. I've seen the clutch hitters they've had. Go back, O'Neill, you go into Brocious,
Yeah,
Martinez, in key situations,
Yeah.
Munson.
They knew how to get the
Piniella.
runner in.
I mean,
They
you look
could-
at these guys now, except for Jeter. I mean, you lose them when they go up against a good pitcher. They just don't hit them.
Yeah, Baltimore, I don't know if this is their year. I mean, they have young talent. I wouldn't be surprised if, like that horse down the stretch, they spit the bit and leave it for the Yankees to take. But, you never know. But
Longoria is going to, with him back and the pitching they have. And that's another thing. Madden, the great coach. Who couldn't coach a team that has 5 very good starters and 2 great starters? Who couldn't coach a team there where the starters get you into at least the 7th inning, 8th inning, 9th inning? I mean, how hard is that to manage? And then you don't have the pit. You have a DH, so you don't have the pitcher batting. And it's so easy to coach with a team like that.
and then you got the Red Sox that don't even have the 4th starter for Tampa Bay. Could be the ace of this team right now. And that's, I mean, what's the solution for the Red Sox, though? Where do you go?
What I'm hoping the Red Sox do, I'm hoping that they cut Matsuzaka. And I hope the Yanks pick him up because he'll be a good starter for the Yanks, 5th starter. People give up on Matsuzaka. He still has stuff. He's just got to get his head together.
Well, it's a lot like the stock market. If you bought, Facebook at $38 a share, you don't want to dump it because now it's $19 a share. Well, that doesn't mean it was ever worth $38 a share. So, if you own Josh Beckett, John Lackey, just because you paid $17, $18 million a year doesn't mean they earned it. So
3 magic words: cut your losses.
The two
It's true.
worst general managers in baseball are Cashman for the Yankees and Epstein was with Chicago.
oh no, it's Larry Lucchino.
Well, I was going
Well,
to say
Jim-
Larry Lucchino. He was the what was he? The default GM.
No, but you look at the signings
Pulling
from
the
both of
strings.
these guys,
Yeah.
and the Yankees have almost a $200 million payroll. And look at, they got Andrew Jones playing. Andrew Jones, the Knicks, guys like that playing.
You know what I think the difference is, though? The Yankees, at least, I'm not a big Teixeira fan. I think he was probably the best first baseman available when we tried getting him, and then the Yankees ultimately got him. The Yankees have a habit of beating the Red Sox to the punch for most of these players. And I think that, historically, they've hit on many more than they've missed, whereas maybe we've missed on many more than we hit. But I think when you look at Matt Suzuki, maybe he hasn't returned much. He did win us a World Series as a third starter. He pitched well. When he's not nibbling on the outside corner of the plate, if he'll challenge a hitter, he could be better. But I think that the Red Sox, they're in just dire straits right now because they have an astronomical payroll. And you look at the guys who are making this money. I mean, I don't know. Gonzalez, I wondered, does he have any guts at all after what it seems like ever since the home run derby, he can't hit anything. And like you said, the walks are down. Look at Beckett's making a lot of money. All these guys that I think you just need to let go. They want to call players-only meetings. They want to complain about that this isn't the way we do things around here. Just get the malcontents out. because they're not going to help us no matter what. And like you said, you're not getting a return on your investment. Who cares what you paid for it? It's what it's worth.
Well, what you're seeing is that the players up front are saying the right thing. It's not Bobby's fault. It's on us. But are they saying that to the media, or in the clubhouse are they saying, well, just a manager, I can't play for this guy?
Well, look what they did at the meeting in New York. They're denying it now, but the
Yeah.
person who came out, they think it's Valentine who came out.
And it very well
Because the
could
guy's
be.
from New York, and Valentine was close to all those guys,
Well,
And then they fired McClure because they claimed that
that he could have been
the
guy.
Kansas City connection there. They claim. Fire him because the pitching staff stinks, not
well,
for that.
I hate this. I don't know my rule stuff. If you're hitting second, your job is to get on base, do whatever. If you're hitting seventh, your job is to get on base. If you're pitching, the job is to get the guy out.
Excelling at the bare minimum.
But you
Put
know
the
what-
ball in play.
You know the problem with that team is, I think that Big Pappy wants to take control of that team, but I think he knows that with Lackey and Beckett together with Lester, he's got those three in one corner. He gets along with Pedroia, but Pedroia could be a firestorm too. Then all the other guys don't know what's going on. They just want to go along with you. They're all, a lot of them are young players or new players.
No.
But the key guy is Pedroia. I don't know what happened to him. Like, as a Yankee fan, Jeter's my favorite player of all time. Mickey Mantle was years ago, and Jeter. And I always had Pedroia right there. I'd always want to watch Pedroia hit. But something has happened to Pedroia. I think it's when Tito went. They were very close, and he didn't give Valentine a chance. When Valentine came out against Euclid early on in the season, and Pedroia jumps to Euclid's defense.
My favorite player by far on the team right now is Pedro Siriaco. Haven't heard one
I'm with
word
you.
from the
He
guy.
should be playing all the time.
I'm with you. That kid, they ought to give him the
He
job.
should be the shortstop.
He puts the ball on the bat on the ball. He runs real hard. He plays hard every game. He doesn't say anything.
Kind of looks like what Ellsbury's supposed to be giving us.
And he's unbelievably fast. He may be the leadoff batter
He
next
runs
year.
like a deer.
If they trade Ellsbury.
Yeah.
Well, and down in the minors, Iglesias was hitting 269. Now, Avila's, he had his run, and pretty much he hasn't done much for the last 2 months. He's quiet, hasn't spoken out anything, but bring the kids up. Play LeVarn way, catch him.
I don't know if
Saltalamacchia.
Conway's ever going to make it, though. Ryan.
Saltalamacchia, this might be his best year ever. He's worth something now. So if you can trade him for a pitcher, do whatever you have to do.
You know what the problem is, though, and this has got to be said. This ridiculous sellout streak just has to go, first of all. I mean, it's like, you hear Lucchino on the radio, and he's like, they still believe that they're going to win. It's like, well, are you playing for next year or are you playing for this year? Well, I like to believe we're playing for both. You know what? Can it? Well, yeah, this can it. As far as I'm concerned, right, the average intelligence of a Red Sox fan, I believe we're a fairly smart fan base. I think when you're winning, you're going to get the pink hats. You're going to get the bandwagon jumpers. I mean, this is Red Sox Nation. We have the guy that has the Boston Red Sox emblem tattooed here. He's sitting next to a guy who is still mad that Darrell Johnson pulled Jim Willoughby in 1975. Okay? All right, so this is what we have here. And there's people here who don't know who Grady Little is because they came in 2004. But overall, you're going to tell me that if we start bringing the kids up and maybe we start losing some games, okay,
How is
maybe
that
we'll
different?
start winning some games because guess what? We're already losing some games. So if you're worried about the sellout, who cares?
I mean, objectively, we're closer to last place than to the wild card. To the wild card, not first place, just to competing. The Red Sox are one of the worst teams in the league right now.
Well, yeah, and they're closer to the worst than they are the
Well,
best.
they have to make the right moves, though, over the winter. I mean, Beckett's got to go, number one. You can't have that personality there. You got to sign Ortiz to a 2-year contract. I don't care if the second year it's not as much. I mean,
I think he proved it.
He's on the steroids or whatever he's on. He's going to be
But
on it because they don't test during the season. So he'll be all right for 2 years.
He did lose the weight, and I think he proved that with his, he's got better bat speed, whether it's performance enhancing something.
What is
or
it now,
whether
HDH? Is that
Yeah,
what they call it?
Growth hormone.
Yeah, whether no matter what it
They don't
is,
test during the year.
you got to at least sign him back. I think he's proven worthy of that. I mean,
Yeah.
an Achilles strain, anybody can get that.
Well, we'll be right back after we take our medication.
Hey, this is Paul Rabel from the Boston Cannons, and you're watching Let's Talk Sports.
Welcome back. Price is what you pay. Value is what you get. And we've just witnessed a couple of preseason NFL exhibition games for the Patriots, and I don't know how much they paid, but there wasn't a lot of value there.
Well, that second game, the game against Philadelphia, I mean, they're playing it Monday, and then they have a game Friday, but they have 2 practices, Wednesday and Thursday, at Tampa. So what Belichick was thinking, he goes, I don't want to get these players hurt. Are they going to have to recover from the game like Brady and his top players? So he held them all out.
Oh, no, I understand
because
the thinking.
But the big thing wasn't the game run against Tampa, it was the 2 practices. He wanted
Right.
them healthy for those 2 practices because he thought they were very important.
Well, for example, in those practices, there were secondaries up against Vincent Jackson, Mike Williams, I think 2 big receivers, and they're going to have to cope with big receivers during the season. But, it's tough to, if you're paying $100 or more potentially for a ticket and, there's no discount for preseason games, that's a lot of money to see the JV out there.
Yeah, but, as a fan, I like to see the younger players. The
Oh,
new
no,
players.
we like seeing these guys, not that we're
I like seeing Allen
pro-
play.
Yeah, we're not talent scouts and talent evaluators, but on the other hand, that's a lot of money to pay for the quality you get. Even Mike Tirico at the end of the game was talking about, the NFL really has to think about what they're doing here, charging the fans full freight for this.
Yeah, and you look at it, I mean, you have to let your fans know that, listen, you go into these games to see players that were drafted, the free agents, you want to look at them. I'd rather see them, really, in an exhibition game than Brady. I'd rather see, Mallet playing.
Well, I remember
in the ends, and then in the younger ends playing.
many years ago, the Patriots in the preseason, I think it was the last preseason game, they had 3 starters hurt, including Garen Veras, and maybe Blackman too, but they had serious injuries, and their season was gone after the final exhibition game with injuries. So, you understand why they're doing it. But the Patriots have a lot of interesting stories. For example, the running back. Who is going to be the lead running back? It seems that Vereen's pulled up even with Ridley, and we'll see how it goes over the last couple of games.
Well, you look at Vereen, he's got more, Ridley's quicker than we thought, but Vereen's the quickest runner on the team. I would think they'll both play equal. And I don't know what Belichick will do on 3rd down situations if we bring Vereen in there or Woodhead,
Yeah, I think Bolden will make the team. you know, he muffed a punt the other game, but he's not a punt returner. You know, they're just putting him in different situations.
Yeah, it's interesting to see the kid from Florida.
Oh, Demps.
See, you know, what he gives him. I know he's going to be running back kickoffs. I don't think he'll be running back punts because you don't want to take a chance there, you know, because you got to really be able to handle the ball.
Well, and you have Edelman's who's a really pretty good punt returner.
Yeah.
As is.
Yeah, he's a key to that team, Edelman. You know, you need Edelman to play. You know, I mean, he's great on punts because he's sure-handed. Plus, he's a pretty good end.
Well, you know, what you think you have, and then now we hear that Welker's not going to play the next game tomorrow night, presumably because of injury. And then Gaffney hasn't been on the field that much because of injury, and Deion Branch looked half decent the other night, except he doesn't get much separation from the defensive backs anymore.
Yeah, he caught a couple of good passes the other day, so he looked pretty good. They showed a replay, and he really got down the field quick. So he's probably worked on his legs the off season. So I think he has a real good shot of making it. I didn't think early on that he was going to make it, but I think Stalwart's going to go on.
Yeah, he didn't look too energized the other night. So that's a big story. And
Chung's out.
Oh, I didn't hear it.
Shoulder.
What kind of shoulder? Do we
I
know?
don't know. He drilled a guy, and the guy drilled him the back, and he went out of the game.
One of the real surprising stories of the preseason, if you said who is, vastly overperformed what was expected of him, it's Nate Ebner. Here's a guy who has played 3 plays on defense as a collegiate and played special teams, and they say he's making interceptions in practice. He's a hard-nosed kid. He can really run. Maybe we're overhyping the kid, but we'll see.
Yeah, and again, like with injuries, they'll be calling back plays during the season. So, it's going to be close because, special teams is huge. So if Belichick likes him to play the special teams, he'll make the team. That's going to be the key. But, I mean, they have everything else run.
Well, if Chung's hurt, does that mean they're going to have to move McCourty off of a corner back to play safety and then?
Well, maybe Wilson. With Gregory and Wilson are free safeties, maybe they'll move one of them to strong safety. And then they have Hedebo, too. He's back.
Right.
He did a pretty good job last year.
But, they're a different team without Chung back there.
He's a hitter, and he leads that whole defensive backfield.
Now, in the backup quarterback competition, the thing that bothered me, it's I don't expect, with a makeshift offensive line that Hoyer and Mallett are going to be, outstanding, but I'm really concerned about them hitting receivers way up here, exposing the receivers. And receivers want the ball so that they can protect themselves after they, go for it. And, the accuracy really seemed disappointing to me.
I like Mallett in the game. Did you see the whole game?
Yeah.
I like Mallett. He was under control. He made some real good passes. That touchdown pass, not many quarterbacks could have got the ball there.
That was a great catch by Silvestro, too.
Bullet pass down the middle. He made a nice pass to Branch down the middle. He just got the ball in there. I mean, he's got a rocket for an arm, and it looked like he was seeing the field well. He's 6'6". He lost all that weight run. And, potentially the Pats could be looking at it like, we'll carry the 3. Mallett, these teams are going to see Mallett play. They like him. Maybe they'll get a second round. Maybe they're thinking second round draft pick for Mallett down the road. If they continue to like Hoyer. To me, Mallett has a way bigger upside than Hoyer. I think Mallett can be top notch.
Well, no doubt the guy's got the big arm.
He looked way better than last year. Remember him last year in those games, and then this year, it's night and day.
Well, he looked he looked like he's certainly competing for the number 2 job anyway.
And Vollmer's back in that offensive line.
Right, but it looks like Waters may just be staying home. Now, I wonder in Waters if it's a money thing more than anything else. He's playing for short money.
It's going to be what I said. He'll be coming back. He'll come back maybe the week before the season opener, I think. He'll come back because, he knows he should be making more money. He's stuck in the middle there. No one's going to give him the money because he's older. Had a great year for the Pats last year. Pats, I think it was $1.5 million, they're going to give him. I guess he was signed for $1.5 million.
I think it might even be 1.4. But in any event, it's short money by NFL standards.
So you know what he's thinking. He's a veteran. He'll be ready when he comes back. And the Pats will welcome him back.
Well, they haven't said he's not coming back. And, Cannon's been a little shaky, but
he's more of a guard though. They got him out playing tackle. Cannon played guard. They said he can play tackle, but he's played guard most of his life. You got him out there on an island, out there by himself. These guys are dinking him left, they're dinking him right. He's got no help. You're playing guard, and there's less territory to guard. Mostly you're using your physical abilities there than your quickness. Solder's got to get a little better, but he's young. He'll get it.
Well, at least if they have line issues, they're going to adjust the plays. The shorter passes, screens. You can see they're working on the screen game.
Oh yeah.
Which is a big McDaniels thing.
But I'll tell you one thing: Philadelphia's well coached. I mean, they got a great defense. They were sitting on a lot of them. You get up against a team that's not as well coached as them, those screen passes are going to work a lot. But Philadelphia was just waiting for them most of the time.
And then I imagine we're going to see Jeff Demps this week on the
kickoff returns.
On the kickoff returns, everybody knows he played at Florida. He's not a big guy. He's about 5'7", 185, but Olympic speed. They're saying he's the fastest player. I think it was Ivan Fears who said he's the fastest player they've ever had.
Yeah, he was on the relay team.
Relay team, right.
100
Silver medal.
100 meter, right?
I think it was 100 meters.
Was he in the finals or was he just in the prelims?
I think he was in the prelims.
Prelims.
Now, it seems as though having joint practices is really the way of the future. I think that you get exposed to different looks from other players, and as Belichick says, after a while in practice, people start playing the play instead of the player. They know what's coming.
Yeah, Belichick said they're more valuable than the games. The 2 practices with New Orleans, they got so much done, and these 2 practices with Tampa. He says you get as much done and you don't get hurt. Because they don't tackle. They don't tackle. I mean, they block, and they do all that other stuff. They'll wrap you, but they won't clip you, and they won't go at your knees or whatever. So they don't have to worry too much about injuries. But you're getting an awful lot done. And again, we said earlier, that's the reason why the top players from the Patriots didn't play against Philly. It wasn't because they were playing Monday, Friday. It was because they had a game Monday and they had practices with Tampa Wednesday and Thursday, and he wanted his players sharp for those practices because he knew those were the 2 practices that would get him ready for the season. So Belichick's smart. He always takes advantage of these things.
They asked fans what their biggest recommendation or concern was about the Patriots, and surprisingly, it was they felt that the management didn't always treat the players fairly in contractual disputes. I don't know. Obviously, both the player and the management is trying to get the best deal they can. There's been a lot of contentious issues over the years. Curtis Martin, certainly. Seymour, Wilfork, Welker. Practically, about the few that haven't been with Brady.
Well, they got lucky with Welker because they signed him to that contract, and of course Welker waited. And the way the Patriots are looking now, he's getting max money now. He's getting 9.5 this year, and then if they franchise him again next year, he's getting 10 point something. So he's going to be all set. Welker, he's thinking that I should have, for the stats I've had over the last 3 or 4 years, I should have been making probably $8 million, $9 million a year for what I did. But, the Pats are looking at it now. He's 31.
Well, the issue is they haven't been able to develop any of their own receivers. They had, back in the day, David Givens, who, he did his job here, then he got big money to go to Tennessee, and I think he got hurt and really never did much there. Branch, they did develop him.
Right, but the way what they look at, the Pats and Belichick, it's the system. I mean, you need the players, but you also have to, Vrabel. They get Vrabel from Pittsburgh. He wasn't playing for Pittsburgh. He found his niche with the Patriots, became one of the best outside linebackers.
Well, and that's what they're hoping for Ninkovich. Exactly.
Ninkovich, Fletcher's another one who got hurt. He was ready to become a top-notch linebacker, Fletcher. But they have Carpenter now, and you got Spike. He'll be the backup. I guess he'll do what Fletcher was going to do. He's had a few years in the league, and he was a #1 draft pick.
Well, and they just signed Kyle Love to an extension through 2013 for $3 million a year. I don't know if was he undrafted or 7th
I think he was. I think he was a free agent.
But he's a guy who's worked very hard.
He's a guy you like. You like from the beginning.
Well, he's done the job. He's a big body and he stays in there.
And when's Pryor going to be healthy? To me, Pryor's better than Love, but he's always hurt.
Yeah, I think that's it's.
When you get these guys that are like Cunningham, how much can you trust Cunningham? he decked Vic the other day.
Well, Belichick has a saying, it's about ability and durability. And you could be the best player in the league, but if you can't stay on the field, then there's no role for you. And which brings us to the case of Jonathan Fanene, who was their premier off-season acquisition, who they cut, and they're trying to get his bonus money back, as they said he didn't disclose an injury.
Right, $3.5 million bonus he got. So they're
Right.
trying to get most of it back or all of it back. Who knows there with the union they have, the players.
Well, thanks for joining us. We'll be back soon. Before you know it, it'll be high school regular season sports, and that's exciting for us. I'm Ron Sen.
And I'm Ralph LaBella, and thank you for watching Let's Talk Sports.